This is Pastor Manning bringing you the Beacon of Hope podcast from Lighthouse Baptist Church, 2032 Cedar Hill Road in Lancaster, Ohio. I'm bringing you now the fourth in our series, For Such a Time, Episodes in Esther. This particular segment of this series is entitled A Queen is Chosen. As I mentioned, this is fourth in a series. The first one was Introduction. That would be number 158 in the podcast. The second one was The Queen Removed. That would be number 160 in the podcast. And the third one was Meeting the People, which is number 161 in the podcast. Now join me for episode 4, A Queen is Chosen. Remember, we're dealing with the book of Esther. And Esther's name means star. She had an older cousin that raised her, like she had been his daughter. His name is Mordecai. And you have Ahasuerus the king, and you had a queen by the name of Vashti. Ahasuerus wanted to bring Vashti in before a large gathering of people and show her off as his queen and kind of parade her in front of some men who had been drinking and such. Vashti had refused, and through a process that was done, she was removed from being queen, and now a new queen is sought for this huge kingdom over which Ahasuerus ruled. Young maidens were brought from all over the kingdom, and one by one, the king decided whether or not he wanted those maidens. And today we're going to read the passage of scripture that deals with Esther coming before this king and what happened when she did so. So we'll begin the reading in verse 12 of Esther chapter 2. Now, when every maid's turn was come to go in to King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. So any kind of jewelry, any kind of garment, any kind of accessories, anything. She could take them with her to try to impress the king so that she might be chosen above all the other maidens to become the queen. In the evening she went. On the morrow she returned unto the second house of the women, to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now, when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was to come to go into the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. She didn't choose lavish jewelry. She didn't choose fancy ornamentation. There was a simplicity to Esther's approach. There was an innocent modesty to Esther. It appears throughout the book. It shows up in her life. She's a young Jewish maiden, and she doesn't require all this. She's a beautiful young lady, but she is so self-possessed, and she has a light within her that she doesn't need all this other ornamentation. It goes on to say, Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. There was something about her that stood out. So Esther was taken into King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tabeth, in the 7th year of his reign. Then what happened? All these other maidens have come in. Now it's Esther. And she's more simple than the other ones in the sense that there's a quiet dignity and she's not ostentatious. But oh my goodness, the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. She is now queen of this kingdom of 2,100,000 square miles of extent. Of 127 provinces, she has went from being just a young Jewish maiden to now queen over this whole realm. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king. So he was so happy he had found a queen that he sent things out to all this kingdom. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate, meaning by that he now has a place of position, authority, or influence. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people. In other words, she had not told anybody that she was a Jew, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. She followed his lead. He had raised her like a father would. You know, in the book of Proverbs, it says this strange woman, which is an immoral woman and a bad woman, she forsakes the guide of her youth. She walks away from what she knows right. She walks away from those who tried to train her to be right and pure and clean. Oh, Esther didn't do that. Esther was virtuous, and she did not forsake the guide of her youth. In those days, now this seems to pivot, but there's a major thing going on here. We're going to read about Mordecai uncovering an assassination attempt on Ahasuerus. This is going to factor in a major way later on in the book of Esther. So remember this as we read it. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, very, very upset, and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. These two who had private and close access to the king got very angry about something, and they decided that they were going to try to harm or kill the king. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther, the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. So Mordecai tells Esther, Esther makes sure the king knows about it. And when inquisition was made of the matter, so they checked it out, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a trees, Bigthan and Teresh, both. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. They had these books of the Chronicles, which would show the day-by-day history of the kingdom. And this event, where these two inner staff men were trying to kill the king, but it was thwarted by Mordecai, this was all written down. Now, you may think this would have been a prominent thing in the king's thinking, but he's over too large of a kingdom. You can imagine that he didn't just receive one or two assassination attempts. And so this was cared for, it was done, and it was out of mind from that point forward. Well, that's as far as I'm taking you today. I invite you to join me in the next episode in this series. It's set to publish on Thursday, November 26th at 7 a.m. That will be episode 166 in the Beacon of Hope podcast. It'll be the fifth in the series, and the title for this one coming up is The Rise of Haman, the Hater of the Jews. And it gets pretty intense in this next episode. If you want to read ahead to be prepared for it, read Esther chapter 3, verses 1 through 11. God bless you, and have a great day.